Dear brothers and sisters, my young friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. On this day, on this hour, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the great blessing of bringing us to this last blessed day, the last Friday of this blessed month. My brothers and sisters, 26 days ago, we embarked on this special journey. Some of us were ready, hit the ground running. Others, perhaps, had a slow start, faced some challenges, but now, alhamdulillah, have warmed up. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept whatever He has guided us to do thus far in this month and in our lives. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our many mistakes and shortcomings. You see, my brothers and sisters, just like this month seems to have gone by in a flash. If you try to think back to the beginning of Ramadan and the days that have passed and the months that have passed, most likely it all seems like a blur, it all seems like a flash. You see, our lifetime will also seem like a flash when we reach our end. When we're going through it, it seems like there's a lot of time ahead. Just like at the beginning of Ramadan, it felt like, oh, there's an entire month ahead. And then it felt like, oh, there's 20 more days after the first 10. And then at the midway point, we thought, okay, we still have halfway to go. And then we said, okay, we still have 10 to go. And now, there's only 4 more. And you look back and it was like a flash. So when our time comes to an end, when we think back and we look back at our life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us that it's going to seem like mere minutes, hours, a day. That's what it's going to seem like. SubhanAllah, speaking of which, there was yet another tragedy. Last 2 weeks I've been talking about unexpected tragedies that occurred in the month of Ramadan. People who haven't planned that the Ramadan would end abruptly. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had other plans. And this is very, very sad. It's very tragic. Last Saturday, just outside of London, Ontario, so not too far from us, a young family, children, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 4-year-old, head-on collision. Both parents, mother and father, passed away. And the children survived, the 1-year-old, the 2-year-old, and the 4-year-old, without their parents. The survival for Jews, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect them, grant them the very best in their life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless their parents with Jannah and grant ease to these children as they grow up. So you see, my brothers and sisters, the fact is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us to this day, and this is a great lesson for us. This is a short journey. It's a very short journey. So we need to make the most of it, in Ramadan as well as outside of Ramadan. Because Ramadan is only once a year. Ramadan is only 29, 30 days a year. The rest of the year is not Ramadan. Yet in the rest of the year, the same Allah is watching us, who is watching us in Ramadan. Allah Azza wa Jal has the same expectations of us in terms of our servitude and our worship of Him, our reverence of His commands and His words, our love for Him, as He does in the month of Ramadan. So yes, Ramadan is special. Mercy is elevated in these days. Forgiveness is intensified. Mercy is intensified. Forgiveness is expanded. Yet our duties towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala don't go away once the moon is sighted and once Eid is celebrated. Our destination is our Rabb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are getting close to Him. Our purpose is to earn His love and His pleasure. And the closer you get, the more beloved and special you become to Him. Every single person, every single one of us, when we make an effort to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that is something special. That is something which is recognized by Allah Azza wa Jalla. The hadith Qudsi is very clear, which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has told us. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, that وَمَا تَقَرَّبَ إِلَيَّ عَبْدِي بِشَيْءٍ أَحَبَّ إِلَيَّ مِمَّا افْتَرَضْتُ عَلَيْهِ وَمَا يَزَالُ عَبْدِي يَتَقَرَّبُ إِلَيَّ بِالنَّوَافِلِ حَتَّى أُحِبَّهُ. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, indeed Allah Azza wa Jalla has given us, have shown us the pathway to attaining the love of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And He said that the most beloved thing which my slave comes nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him or her. The fara'id, the obligations, are the doorway to attaining the pleasure of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a person thinks that they can have the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by ignoring the obligations, by being indifferent towards the obligations, then this is false hope and it's a false understanding, my brothers and sisters. Because the message is very clear, that the most beloved thing with which my slave comes nearer to me is what I have enjoined upon him. And my slave keeps on coming closer to me through performing nawafil, through performing optional deeds, until I love him or her. Until, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, until I love him or her. So the doorway is the obligations. The fasting is the doorway. The prayers are the doorway. The zakat is the doorway. These are the entrance ways to attaining the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that journey continues further with the optional deeds, where you feel that I don't need to do this, I don't have to do this, but I want to do this because I want the love of Allah, because I want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is coming from you. It's not something which is being forced upon you, or that is being told, that you're being told to do by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you build that desire within yourself, and you make that effort even though you don't have to, even though it's not compulsory. And this, my brothers and sisters, is very valuable, very beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That my servant, my slave, took it upon him or herself to do something extra to please me, even though they were not required to do so. But they still felt that urge and that desire to earn my love, and therefore they have taken these steps. And on the day of Eid, my brothers and sisters, we want to be more closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, more beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feel more love than we did on the first day of Ramadan. We don't want it to go away. Otherwise, what's the point? We don't want it to go away. We want it to build up. So on the day of Eid, we feel more closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have more reverence for Allah Azza wa Jalla. We have more love for Him. And we want to continue building that up. We don't want it to wither away. We want to protect our gains. SubhanAllah, you see the flooding that has occurred nearby. And many homes impacted. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ease the pain and the challenges being faced by our neighbors. How hard does a person work to defend, to protect their property? The home that they have built, the home in which they have invested so much, their life savings. Sandbagging day in, day out, no sleep, no food. Awake, what if the pump goes out? What if the power goes out? What if the generator runs out of gas, of diesel? Working hard to make sure, striving, full effort, even more than a person feels that they actually have in terms of energy, right? To protect what they have earned and gained. So imagine how we should be then with regards to our needs. A person who has earned the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this month, how hard should they work to protect that, to defend that, to ensure that it doesn't slip away, to ensure that the enemies, nafs and shaitan, don't come and attack it and take it away. So my brothers and sisters, the purpose of this journey is to purify ourselves, to elevate our level of taqwa, to come out as permanently better people towards others and as better slaves and servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is what we should be aiming. This is what should be our target for Eid, and especially for the weeks and months that come after Eid. The scholars say that that is the true test of how your Ramadan went. The true test, the results of how your Ramadan went, is what happens on Eid and the days and months and weeks that follow Eid. That is when you will be able to see for yourself. Nobody else needs to judge anyone else. You can judge yourself and see how your Ramadan was. The last 26 days, many of us have felt hungry. 25 days have felt hungry and thirsty during the day. We felt it in our stomachs, in our mouths, in our throats. The impact should be felt in our hearts. The impact of all of this should be felt in our hearts. That is the purpose, because that is where taqwa resides. And the objective of fasting is to increase our taqwa of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us very clearly. And the Prophet ﷺ told us that taqwa, where is it? It's in the chest, it's in the heart. This is where it resides. So something should be felt here. Because of the fasting, something should be felt here. It should have an impact. If it's not happening, we have to ask ourselves, why is it not happening? What am I missing? Imam al-Nawawi rahmatullahi alayhi, he tells us that أَنَّ الْأَعْمَالَ الظَّاهِرَةَ لَا يَحْصُلُ بِهِ التَّقْوَى. That the outwardly deeds, that's not really the way of attaining taqwa, of building up on taqwa. What is really taqwa about? Yes, we are fasting. It is a means, it's supposed to result in taqwa. But what is taqwa? Where does it really come from? It occurs in the heart, he says. مِنْ عَظْمَةِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَخَشْيَتِهِ وَمُرَاقَبَتِهِ. Where does it come from? From the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recognizing the magnitude, the magnificence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, feeling it in the heart, taking it to heart, and his muraqabah. One of the finest, best definitions we find of muraqabah is of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Muraqabah of Allah is being on the way to Him at all times, with overwhelming glorification, inciting nearness and urgent joy. This is how we feel about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at all times. The overwhelming glorification is to have the heart filled with the glorification of Allah. And what happens? Such a state, the state of muraqabah, makes the servant unconcerned with glorifying others or paying attention to others beside Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That doesn't mean you don't care about others. What it means is that you're not concerned about what others are going to think. You are concerned about the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. So a servant should always have this state, especially when he or she is remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So changing the state, our condition, the condition of our hearts, which is the center of our existence, which controls all of our actions, which is at the root. So my brothers and sisters, the physical actions, the deeds, should impact the heart. Think of taqwa as the foundation or the roof. If your foundation keeps leaking, the water keeps coming into your basement, keeps coming into your home, and you have humidity, and you have moisture, and you have mold, and you keep trying to fix the mold, and you keep replacing your carpets and flooring in your basement, or your roof is leaking, and you keep repairing the wall, and you keep repairing the drywall and painting it, and fixing the floor and the furniture that keeps getting damaged, but you don't fix the leak in the roof. You don't fix the leak in the roof. You don't fix the crack in the foundation. Does that actually help? No, because you're not getting to the root of the problem. The root problem is not solved. Similarly, taqwa is at the root of our symptoms and the consequences of our spiritual illnesses. A lot of the challenges we face, a lot of the struggles we face, at the root, at the bottom of it, is taqwa, which is lacking, which can be strengthened. So the question is, my brothers and sisters, how will this Ramadan change you after Ramadan? How will this Ramadan change you after the month of Ramadan has passed? The leak may have been fixed perhaps in Ramadan, but is the leak going to spring again? Is the crack going to appear again? And if the crack and the leaks appear again after Ramadan, then you and I are going to find ourselves in the same situation. we're going to find ourselves in the same situation. Just like a leaky bucket of good deeds. You fill up your bucket with good deeds, but your bucket has a hole. And as you carry the bucket, everything is falling out slowly and slowly. So by the time we get through another year, and next Ramadan comes around, our bucket is empty once again. Then we strive and we work hard, we stand at night, we fast, we read Quran, we make dua, we do everything. Alhamdulillah, we fill our bucket up. Alhamdulillah, we're happy. The day of Eid, we're happy, alhamdulillah, we filled our bucket up, may Allah accept from us. And then again, first day, subhanAllah, first night, the night before Eid, when shaitan is released, you will see, mark my words. Mark my words. Watch your news feed. Watch what is happening in the community. Watch what is going on. And perhaps we ourselves are involved in it. May Allah protect us. You will see those leaks in those cracks are going to spring up immediately. The moment it is announced that Ramadan is over, the moment the announcement is made that Eid is tomorrow, it's going to happen. Allah protect us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from being those who are caught in those leaks. I know it's not easy. It's not easy. But you have to try as much as possible. See, once taqwa starts flourishing, we start seeing many impacts. And one of the foremost is that a person truly starts to value Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Truly starts to value His words. Truly starts to feel that the pleasure of Allah is more important than myself, than my wants and my desires and the desires of others. Truly start feeling that inside. That what I want and what I think is not important. What is most important to me is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants and what Allah likes from me. So putting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the forefront of every choice, every decision, every step, every breath. At this moment, I'm about to do this. People want me to do this. I am getting invited, I am getting pressured to do this. Is this something which is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Is this something which is going to make my bucket leak? Or is it going to build up my bucket? Is it going to strengthen my bucket? Is it going to gain me the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And sacrifice. Because you see, my brothers and sisters, Jannah doesn't come cheap. Jannah doesn't come cheap. Paradise does not come cheap. There are challenges, there are struggles, there are sacrifices to struggle, to strive, to feel something, to feel it, and to feel the sacrifice and the struggle. To put the pleasure of Allah after all our needs and pleasures. It's not really a sacrifice, if you're honest, if you think about it. If I say I'm going to take care of everything I want, everything that I need, everything that I want, everything that I desire, and then whatever time I have left, whatever wealth I have left, whatever energy I have left, then I'll put it towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that really a sacrifice? Really honestly, is that really a sacrifice? Now you ask yourself. See, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا هَلْ أَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَىٰ تِجَارَةٍ تُنْجِيكُمْ مِنْ عَذَابٍ أَلِيمٍ. O you have believed, shall I guide you to a transaction that will save you from a painful punishment? Shall I guide you to a transaction? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us Himself. Here's a method. Here's a way of protecting yourself from a painful punishment. تؤمنون بالله ورسوله وتجاهدون في سبيل الله بأموالكم وأنفسكم ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون. It is that you believe in Allah and His Messenger. Say Alhamdulillah. That's why we're here. Alhamdulillah. And strive in the cause of Allah with your wealth and your lives. With your wealth and your lives. That is best for you if you should know. It may not seem like it. It may seem like it's difficult. It may not seem desirable. But it is actually best for you. The Sahaba radiallahu anhum, when the call came for them to go out and give their lives for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were ready to do it. Those who were believers, not the munafiqun, of course. Okay, but those who were the true believers, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they were ready to do it. Because what Allah wanted was more important than what was dear to them. And it's not like they didn't love their families, or they didn't love themselves, their lives, or that they didn't want wealth, or love their wealth and their orchards and their businesses. Of course they did. But they were willing to sacrifice that. They were willing to sacrifice that with zeal and with desire, not lazily, with zeal and desire to be at the forefront of the sacrifice, regardless of the cost. The opportunity for us to sacrifice in this way, with our lives, is not realistically available to us. But struggling with our bodies and our wealth to serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in other ways is available. SubhanAllah, sometimes I think that if there was a legitimate and legal call that required us to leave our homes, our work, our businesses, and go out and struggle with the risk of not coming back, with the real risk where the odds are against us, how many of us would be willing to do it? How many of us would truly be willing to do that? I question myself first. May Allah forgive me. How many of us would be from the mu'minun and how many would be from the munafiqun? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me. So brothers and sisters, we have to push ourselves, feel the pain, the struggle, and until we don't feel something, it's not really a sacrifice. The life is slipping away. Your day will come, my day will come. You will hear Imam Sikander has passed away. His janazah is at, our masjid won't have janazah facilities probably, so maybe it's at Jami Umar. Imam Sikander's janazah is tomorrow after Dhuhr. Maybe you will come, maybe you will just make dua for me, inshallah. So my time, your time, everyone's time is coming. And then perhaps you might regret, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, وَأَنْفِقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ يَأْتِيَ أَحَدَكُمُ الْمَوْتُ. Spend the way of Allah from what we have provided for you before death approaches. And then, what will happen? فَيَقُولَ رَبِّي, till you say, لَوْلَا أَخَّرْتَنِي إِلَىٰ أَجَلٍ قَرِيبٍ. My Lord, if only you would delay me for a brief term, just a brief term. فَأَصَّدَّقَ وَأَكُنْ مِنَ الصَّالِحِينَ. So I would give charity and be among the righteous. Interesting, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing the believers, and the first thing he mentions of regret is charity. The first thing of regret that is mentioned in this ayah, which is addressed to the believers, not to anyone else, is the giving of charity. SubhanAllah, this is not me, this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. So the first thing, my brothers and sisters, is going to come to mind is our wealth, and realizing that what we have left behind for others is of no benefit to us. What we are leaving behind for others in our inheritance is of no benefit to us. Who knows how our children and our inheritors will use our wealth? Whether it will be halal or haram, Allah protect them and guide them to use it only for halal. But who knows what it will be used for? So my brothers and sisters, let us take advantage of this final few days and nights of Ramadan. Reflect on what impact this Ramadan is going to have on us after Ramadan and for the rest of our lives. Otherwise, we fear that we will be like a leaky bucket that loses all its contents and is left dry and empty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Let us make dua. Ya Rabbal Alameen, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Oh Allah, all praise and thanks are for you, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Ya Rabbal Alameen, you have blessed us in so many ways. We cannot thank you enough, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please count us from among those who are the shakireen, who are the grateful, Ya Rabbal Alameen. You have brought us, Ya Rabbal Alameen, to this last blessed Friday of this last blessed month, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, for how many of us this is the last Friday of Ramadan of our lives, Ya Rabbal Alameen, we don't know. Oh Allah, who amongst us will not be here next year at this time, Ya Rabbal Alameen, we don't know. Oh Allah, we don't know who of us will not see another Ramadan, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, perhaps this is my last Friday of Ramadan, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, perhaps these are my last nights to gain Lailatul Qadr, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please protect us all. Oh Allah, please grant us all health and long lives in your service, in your servitude, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, we are your weak servants. Oh Allah, we are filthy with sins and mistakes, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, our hearts have become darkened. Oh Allah, we have gathered here in a sinful and dirty state, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please purify all of our hearts, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please shower your mercy and forgiveness upon us at this moment, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please forgive us for all of our shortcomings, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, so many diseases in our hearts, in our bodies and minds. Oh Allah, please rectify our hearts and our deeds, our bodies and our minds, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please accept our meager deeds, Ya Allah. Oh Allah, you are great. What we have done is nothing, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, we present them to you for your acceptance, despite their shortcomings and mistakes, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, protect our loved ones. Oh Allah, please bless us with halal income. Oh Allah, please bless us with health and safety. Ya Rabbal Alameen, please cure all those who are ill, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please relieve all of those who are in pain, those amongst us, those in our locality, in our community, and all around the world, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please make us the people of goodness in this life and the next, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, for many years we have been striving to do your work, to serve you, to establish your house in this area, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, we are not worthy or capable of this effort, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, it is only for your pleasure and to serve you and your deen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please accept it from all of us and make it easy for us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, the challenges, the costs, the hurdles seem big, Ya Allah, for us. Oh Allah, but they're tiny and insignificant and meaningless to you, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, we are trying, but you are the doer. Oh Allah, please soften our hearts, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please make this journey easy for us, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please make it easy for us to participate in this effort, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please purify our hearts of love for this dunya and worldly matters and wealth, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please make all our tasks and our journey easy and simplified, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please grant us success in all of our affairs. Oh Allah, please protect us from all types of evil, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please grant us unity. Oh Allah, please unite our hearts with love and sincerity and humility. Oh Allah, please grant us sincerity and guide us to a result that you are pleased with, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Oh Allah, please accept this effort from us until the day of judgment. Oh Allah, please make it a means of the guidance and protection of our youth and future generations and of spreading your word throughout the world, Ya Rabbal Alameen. So my brothers and sisters, alhamdulillah, our work continues behind the scenes on the project. Alhamdulillah, as we have mentioned, the city has given technical approval to the site plan. Now that we have technical approval, we know what is required of us to do. Before we didn't know what the city is going to demand. Now we know all the details, exactly what we need to do in order to move forward. And with this information, we have been able to get an estimate. Because before we were just, trying to figure out from various sources, but we didn't know what exactly we needed. But now, since we know what we need, we are able to get an estimate. And the estimate makes it clear that the funds we have raised, alhamdulillah, with your support, for phase 1 work will not be sufficient. Because there is more work that is required than what was originally expected. And we will need further funds to get phase 1 complete during this summer. And this is something which is just developing right through Ramadan. So that we can move on to phase 2, which is the actual new masjid facility. If we don't do phase 1, we can't move to phase 2. If we don't do phase 1, we may not even be able to use our musalla that we're using right now. So we need to get this ball rolling. Because if we don't, there's a good chance that, because we're not really supposed to be using the musalla as we are right now. This is just very temporary. Okay, so we need to move on and get this ball rolling. MashaAllah, tabarakallah, many have helped so far. And I make dua, honestly, for every single one of you, that may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept and may He multiply the rewards so many times that it is enormous on the day of judgment and so huge that you're not even able to recognize it. My appeal today is for those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed and who have funds available, meaning that if you were to give 100,000 for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, 50,000, 25,000, 10,000, 5,000, you would not feel it. You would not feel it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you in such a way that if you were to write that check or give it in the path of Allah, it would not affect your life. You would continue to move forward and live, driving the same cars, eating the same food, living in the same house. Perhaps it is just sitting in your bank account. Or you have invested it and you just need to divest of it. Whatever it is, know that if you spend in Allah's cause, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will spend on you and will not decrease your wealth. Hadith Qudsi, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, "Anfiq ya ibn Adam, anfiq alayk." Spend, O son of Adam, O child of Adam, and I will spend on you. So don't think that what you have, and if you don't give it, that it's going to stop from more coming to you. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase it, inshallah. Please move forward, brothers, and fill in the gaps. Tonight is the 27th night. Our Quran completion on Taraweeh, inshallah, will be on the 29th night, on Sunday night. This opportunity will be gone, my brothers and sisters. And only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. I don't know, even myself. Only Allah knows if you will see another Ramadan, and if you will see another Laylatul Qadr. If you have never done it before, perhaps, it feels a little scary. It feels a little, it makes you a little jittery. Overcome the hesitation. Put your faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because it will not hurt you, because the words of Allah and the promise of Allah and His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam are 100% absolutely true. But it might just be what pleases Allah so much that He grants you Jannah. It's for Allah to decide. But the effort and the sincerity has to come from within us. So for all of us, whatever amount we can do, even if we need to sacrifice a little bit, reduce the contributions to the investments for a few months, cut down on that vacation, get a slower internet plan, cut down on Netflix, cancel Amazon Prime, whatever it is. Okay, even if you just need to sacrifice a little bit, 5K, 5,000, 2,500, 1,000, whatever it is, please step forward. And honestly, if everyone in this hall gave $500, we would be done. It would cover our need, or approximately, we're just very close to covering it for phase 1. So we can reach our goal, inshallah, but we need all hands on deck. I can't do this alone. If Allah had blessed me $2 million, I wouldn't be asking it. Okay? But alhamdulillah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed me. I'm not complaining, but what I'm saying is I can't do it alone. We can't do it alone. We all need to do it together, inshallah. We can reach our goal, but we all need to pitch in according to the blessings of Allah upon us. Not what others are giving, according to the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us, because Allah knows what's in your account. You know, Allah knows maybe your accountant knows. Okay, so it's between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our time is coming when people will say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un upon us, and then it will be too late when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us.